I'm talking from a female perspective, but it's so nice to be liked. Like it's our selfishness inside of us, like our ego. We like to be admired, to be attractive, to be liked, even though we don't want our friend to like fall in love with us, but we want it to like us.
Yeah. Hi godly women! Today I'm here with my lovely friend Marika, and we will talk about the topic: is it okay or is it wise to be friends with someone from the opposite gender? And is it mattering if you're married or single? And what do you do if you're already friends with someone of the opposite gender? So that's what we're going to talk about. But first, maybe you can introduce yourself a bit to them. Who are you?
Yes, I am, as you said, Marika, and I am 33 years old, from Norway. Grew up here, live here, and I'm a nurse. I work in a hospital with stroke patients and geriatric patients. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am married to Cedric. He's from France. And we've been married for 2.5 years, a bit more than that.
Yeah. Oh, we are very happy to know you.
Yes, likewise.
So I thought first to just ask you, like, when you first heard me propose this topic to talk about, like, what was your initial feelings of, like, can you be friends with someone from the opposite gender? What did you first, like, just think?
That's a good question. I think I first just was thinking, yes, of course. And then there came all these, precautions, thoughts, because of course there's nothing wrong in being friends with any human being in a way. But I think there's a lot of things that it's important to think about, to not maybe be too close.
So how did that process, like, when you started looking into it a little bit more, what did you come across that, are you now thinking the same, or have you got some more thoughts about, is this good or not?
I think I was going back, like, thinking about my life, like what I've learned from people around me, like values and stuff. And I think... I have some good friends that I've that are sort of my parents' age, and they've taught me a lot of things. And one of the things is to be cautious, or to guard your own heart and also guard other people's hearts. And when it comes to being close friends with the opposite sex, then it's important to not share too much, or let the other person share too much, to be too intimate, because it's okay to be friends for a while, and maybe you can think that, but this is fine, I have my feelings under control, and then time goes by, and then maybe the other one catches feelings, and then you can do and protect yourself, but then the other person.
Yeah, exactly. To also be considerate about the other one's emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this is a bit interesting, actually, because I think we come from a little bit different standpoints in this. That's good. So then we can talk about it from, and really, like, deal with this topic. Because, I had, when I was a teenager and so, I was friends with many guys. And I had especially one person that I was very good friends with. He was, like, my best friend. And when I met my now husband, then I actually decided that we can't be friends anymore.
At all?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it was also because I had feelings for him.
Yeah, okay.
So that I think is especially if it is someone that you have had feelings for, then I think it's a no. Like, it doesn't. We might think that it works, but I can have it under control. But I just don't think it's wise. I don't think it's wise to continue with something that might lead you down into temptations, and you never know. The thing is, how I reasoned around that was that, okay, like, because of course, when you're friends with someone for a long time, you appreciate them. You like their company and the conversations you have or the things you do, and that feels very hard to break away from. But I think we need to be wise in thinking about the bigger picture, and when you have someone that you are married to or that you are gonna marry, then that comes above all of that, and to have an emotional attachment to someone else that will, I think, hinder your relationship, and for you to actually bond in that same way to your partner, to your husband. So I just reasoned in that way that okay, it will not work. I'm not willing to take any risks that down the road later now I think that maybe the feelings are in control, but down the road later, if there is struggles in the marriage and this person, this other guy friend, he listens to your emotions and he's fulfilling the places where your husband might be weak at the moment, and it's so easy. I mean, the enemy is so trying to break up marriages and families, and you don't want to give him any ground in having any access, because we think often that we are stronger than what we are, and so I thought, no, but I want to honor the marriage in that way, to be precautious and to not assume that but I can handle it better than what other people have, because everyone thinks that they are the ones that can handle it.
But I completely agree with you on that. So I don't think we necessarily disagree. But the thing is, if you already have had feelings for someone, then you've already sort of, it's not just being friends then, in like emotionally in your mind. And so that was sort of what I was thinking of when I said what I said, because when it crosses this border in a way, it's hard to go back. So when two people from the opposite sex are friends, when one passes or crosses that border or like emotional border, it's very hard to go back. So that's why it's important to be just friends. And maybe one tip is to not just be the two, but to try to be in a group setting.
But do you think that a guy and a girl, like in general, so now even if they are not, if they are married or if they are not married, do you think that a guy and a girl can be friends without it being any more feelings?
What do you put into friends?
Yeah, exactly. That's because, a good. That's a good, because friends can be different levels. I mean, does it mean that you should never talk to someone of the opposite sex? Because it is different how you define a friend. Like, are you friendly? Should you be friendly to people from the opposite sex? Of course, we should be friendly to everyone. Like what you mentioned also, that but we should be kind and friendly. So, but to be friends, I'm thinking.
You mean like
friends in the way,
and
exactly, to have a more you and that person, you and he, you are talking about different issues that might arise, or you are checking in on each other frequently, and maybe meeting with just the two of you, even if it's something innocent you're doing when you're meeting, like we're going for a hike or whatever, but that kind of friendship where it's more the two of you sharing something special.
No, then I would say no. I don't think that's smart. And I've had some guy friends that or male friends before I got married, and after I got together with my now husband, I never hung out with them, just the two of us anymore. And usually we were in a group setting anyway, but we could hang out, just the two of us. And so, it's been a change there.
I think that is a very important part of, like, if you have guy friends and you're entering into a courtship or eventually being engaged and get married, I think it's very important when that transition is happening that the guy friends that you have, that you sort of take a more distance in a way of being careful with, okay, you are no longer that you can be together, just the two of you. And I would honestly say, even before that, even if you don't have someone that you're courting or dating or so, that I don't think it's wise to hang out a girl and a guy if you don't have any intentions of that, okay, we are seeing if we should enter a courtship and we are both aware of that. I actually think that that is to arise unnecessary temptations because we're just like wired in the way to try to find someone to be to be with, and especially in this world, I mean, it's so over sexualized. So for guys especially, I think it's very hard to be friends with a woman without having any thoughts that are impure. And that leads me to a Bible verse that I had looked up with this from 1 Corinthians. Let's see, where did it say? 6:18. So 1 Corinthians 6:18. Flee sexual immorality. Every sin that a man does is outside the body, but he who commits sexual immorality sins against his own body. So in that way, I mean, here it says flee sexual immorality, like flee fornication. So
prevent it.
It's not just like, it's really flee. It's something serious, like run as if it's really dangerous. And then I think, okay, be wise to not put yourself in those positions where you're risking to break that boundary. And even if you think that, but I can be friends with these guys or this guy, it's so big risk that one of you start having more feelings, and then it's also not fair to that other person because it can cause a lot of heartache. And I think what you say is it's a bit different if you're being together with others in a group setting, but to have friendship one-on-one, no matter if you're single or married, with someone of the opposite sex where you share emotions and you get a special bond, I just don't think it's wise.
It will happen when you open up.
Yeah.
It sort of, it makes connections or like bonding.
Yeah.
And
it really does. And I think especially for women, like, okay, for men the issue might be the sexual temptations, but for women,
it's emotional.
Yeah, the emotional attachment that we get to someone, and that can be very hard to then, okay, if you have that to another guy and then you find someone you want to court or get into a marriage, a relationship with, and you're attached emotionally to someone else and you're used to that person's way of helping you or dealing with your emotions and giving you support. And in the same way as if you have had like other sexual partners and so on, that can cause issues later in the marriage, to have an emotional attachment to another guy can also cause issues later in the marriage, because you expect certain things from your husband than this other guy friend gave, and it just creates this like unnecessary tensions to the marriage. And then especially if you are in a marriage, I would say, then I think it just causes for, even if we as Christians, we know, but we shouldn't be jealous. We might think that means, of course you can then be with someone else because I shouldn't be jealous anyway.
Yeah.
But it's so unnecessary to put those temptations and create that insecurity. And even if, even if I trust Melvin, my partner, if he would start hanging out a lot with another woman, that would make me wonder, okay, am I not fulfilling that side, those needs for him? And it does create insecurities. And how would you feel if Cedric would suddenly become very good friend with another woman and meet. Like,
No, I know that would be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. And I've read in an article once, like, the 6 secrets of lasting love, and it was like 6 points that was good to think about before you got engaged or got married. And there was this little comment there that if you have or if that person has close friends from the opposite sex, but that you're not included, that's sort of like a red flag. And that can also like when you're married.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's okay to have friends from the opposite sex, but then that should be our friends, not my friends.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, then okay, marriage first, like my spouse first.
Yeah.
And then I should how to say, like, not be friends with that person anymore.
Yeah.
Because
how do you do
now you're a team when you're married. It's the two of you, and that comes first.
Yeah, and you want to work on emotionally, physically, and in all the ways, like, have that bond to each other and not to other people. And I think sometimes it might be certain insecurities or things that make people not really attached to their husband then, but have it still in their, like, former friends and so, but then it's healthy to detach from that and have that with your husband. But how do you do then if you discover that apparently it's not so wise to be friends with someone of the opposite gender, but I'm already very good friends with a guy. How do you do to, like, end that relationship, or suddenly say, we can't be friends anymore except for in big group? How do you do that? What, do you have any tips?
That can be a bit awkward.
Yeah.
to say that, but maybe, I don't know. It depends on the situation, I think, or on the relationship, but maybe just try to invite more people, to just make it natural to not be the two of you. But if that's all you did before, maybe you don't have common friends, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe the best thing is to just explain it.
Yeah.
Because that's usually, communication is always key.
Yeah, and I think especially for guys, that it's...
To understand.
Yeah, and they like clarity.
I like clarity too.
Yeah. So it's better, because you're also not letting them free, so to say, to say if it is actually that they have some hopes. They might never have shared it. It might not have come across like that. As women, we might be a bit blind to, like, that they would have an interest or insecure. So we think that, of course, they are not interested in me, or deep down, no, but I don't want to go there. I don't want to think about that. We're just friends, like living in denial. Yeah. But for that person's sake, like what you shared in the beginning, that we are also to think about the other person and what is good for that person. Yeah. And then it's also, good to be just honest and sit down. So if you are good friends, you should also then be able to sit down and say, okay, this is the case I've discovered, or come to those thoughts of that it's not wise to be friends with someone with the opposite sex, and thinking about my future partner, or if you are in a marriage, like, then I think it's...
You have to have that conversation.
Yeah, I think that you have to have that conversation. Don't delay it for your partner's sake and for your sake, because you just don't want to go down that path. It's... but then to sit down and really have that conversation open and say, okay, I still really like you as a person, but it's not wise, it's not good. It will never happen anything between us. I think guys like to hear, because I listened to, when doing research for this, I listened to a little video clip that was so funny. And it was so interesting. Because it was interesting, as I discovered when looking up more about this, that this is a topic that is not just that Christians are saying you shouldn't be friends with people from the opposite sex. It's actually just like secular people that are just saying don't do that, don't be friends with the opposite gender. Like, I didn't think about that. That was a big thing
Yeah.
also outside Christianity, but they are actually saying, no, don't do that because it's not possible. A guy can't just be friends with a girl.
Yeah.
And it was so funny in this clip. Then they were interviewing people at a university, saying first with all the women, can you be friends with the opposite sex without just friends? Like yes, yes, yes. So they all said yes. Then they were asking the guys and like, no. And all the guys were just so like, no, of course not. Like, whoa. And then they were asking the girls like follow-up questions that they didn't know about each other, but they had cut it together. And but do you think that if you would ask this guy if he wanted to like do something sexual together, what do you think he would do or respond? And they were all like, well, yeah, he would, or like, or do you think that he's interested in you? Like, yeah, okay, so are you then just friends? Well, no, okay, just friends from one side, and that's just not fair.
It's not right, and I think it's so. I'm talking from a female perspective, but it's so nice to be liked. Like it's our selfishness inside of us, like our ego. We like to be admired, to be attractive, to be liked, even though we don't want our friend to like fall in love with us, but we want him to like us, to like me. It's like this sort of double thing, and it's just. It's not good. Yeah,
and I think women often have that, like, oh, we want confirmation.
Yeah.
But the reality is, and then we like that and try to pretend as if it's like fine and so. But really, when we can see that is our selfish nature and truly the only confirmation that we need is from God. We do not need it from other people, not other guys. We don't need it from other women friends either. We don't need that confirmation. We only need it from God. And when we have more of that security in God, I think this will also be just less of issues at all.
Exactly.
So it's like to continue to work on that also.
And I need to share a Bible verse that just fits perfectly with that. And I actually know it by heart, but I will read it. But it's a very nice verse to learn by heart. It's in Philippians 4, and especially verse 7, but I'll read 5 and 6 as well. Let your gentleness be known to all men. The Lord is at hand. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. And I think that's just, it's just so true. It's God who gives us the peace we need and the affirmation we need, and He will guard our hearts and help us to also, guard other people's hearts. I love and that's gentleness.
But it's so good. Like we should be mindful, especially as godly women. We should be mindful of their feelings and of our partner's feelings, and just not take unnecessary risks. We know this world is full of temptations and sins, and we are just not that strong. And like the best we can do is to just keep building on our relationship with Jesus, because He fulfills all those needs. We do not need to have confirmation from other guys and to feel appreciated in that way.
We'll never have enough.
Yeah, exactly. It will never fulfill.
Yeah.
It actually will never fulfill. It might give a temporary boost and but that's not worth anything in the long run. And if you are single, it will just make it harder later. So and if you are together with someone, like honor your husband. That is I think what we can maybe conclude from this, and still be kind. If you're gonna go and say to a guy that we can't be friends, don't do it in a mean way of like just stop talking to him. Like no, be clear, explain, and say thank you for the time you have had together and that you have appreciated that. But be clear, I think, also with just there will never be anything more. Because what he said in that clip also was that the guys are if they are continuing friends with a woman, it is because secretly down somewhere they hope that it will, at a weak moment or something, that it will lead to something more. And they claim that it doesn't even matter how then kind and humble the person seems to be, or even like then how Christian the person seems to be. If those weaknesses, we all have weaknesses, so we should just be careful in advance to not put someone else in that position and not put ourselves in that position. So
not be naive.
Yeah, and I think that would maybe our encouragement in this topic. Sure. And I would love to hear your thoughts about this. Like, do you have another experience? What are you thinking about, and how can we grow as godly women? How can we not just settle for where is the limit, but how can we grow in our character to be as godly and Jesus-like as possible? So please share in the comments what you have thought about this conversation and the thoughts that popped into your mind. And thank you for this time. And if you want to watch more of these kind of conversations, then maybe you would be interested in this next video. Take care. Bye.